Welcome to the MAG Network podcast. Hello everybody and welcome to this edition of the MAG Network podcast. This is the first edition for the month of May in 2023. I'm Colin Brown, Director of Campaigns and Political Engagement for the Motorcycle Action Group, and with me today I've got Steve Mallet. Steve, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello there. Yeah, I'm Steve Mallet. I'm the rep for the southeast region of MAG, and I also run the local North Kent branch down in Rochester.
That's great. Well, it's good to have you with us today, Steve. So to start off with, can you give us a little bit of information about what you've been getting up to in the region in the last month or two, and anything that you've got coming up?
Yeah, it's been very busy indeed. Our local group, North Kent MAG, have all been working very hard over the last several months, and in March, I think it was the 15th, we brought to fruition the first of our national anti-bike theft public meetings, which have been taken up and are happening all over the country now. Anyone who hasn't organised anything like this would probably think, oh, it's fairly easy to do. But in actual fact, it involves a huge amount of work. I mean, I'm not bigging myself up, but things move slowly when you're dealing with people in public office. And I suppose we've been 3 or 4 months getting this all together. And in the event, it all went off very well. We had our usual place we have our North Kent meetings wasn't suitable. It wasn't a suitable venue, and we felt perhaps a lot of the people wouldn't be happy being in a pub. So we hired a sports complex, which was very good with TV screens for showing videos and publicity stuff. We had a really good turnout with the Kent PCC and some high-ranking police people. Biker, who you're probably aware are a national bike recovery organisation. And I've been out of the house for the last 2 days, busy doing something entirely different. And when I got home this evening, I had several messages from Biker about places they're staking out, trying to recover stolen motorcycles. So really do feel this is going well. We had a really good turnout at the theft meeting. It was a wet Wednesday night, and my main two concerns was A, nobody would turn up, or B, if they did, the meeting might get out of hand. But we got loads of people turn up, and everyone was very focused, and some good questions and some good answers. We held the police to account and the PCC, and we had lots of sort of peripheral people there, local councillors. MAG is not a party political organisation, but the local Labour group has always been very supportive of MAG in the Medway towns, and in the council elections we've just had, Labour have just taken control of the Medway towns, which is very good because we now feel we've got more support when we need stuff like secure bike parking and well, that's the main thing, really, secure bike parking.
Sorry, Steve. I noticed that that one of the councillors that came along, I think he's probably the guy that is going to become the leader of the council, isn't he? Vincent, I think his name is.
Vince Maple. Yeah.
Yes, like I say, this is a good way to build relationships with people. Certainly, councillors who then turn into the leader of the council. And if you've had them along to a meeting like that and they've made a certain amount of commitment, shall we say, to the cause of motorcycling, then hopefully we'll be able to follow that through with more action further down the road once he's got his feet under the table.
That's right. It's we're not strangers to each other now. We all know each other, and we all know where everyone's coming from. It's really good. Then in September, following the sort of blight that COVID brought on the country, we've got our Southeast Region Rally up and running again, MAGFEST 5. This is mostly run by the Brighton branch of MAG. Got a really good group of people down there. Organising rallies is their thing. And that's going to take place in Copthorne, which is near Gatwick Airport, on the 15th, 16th and 17th of September. If you want to learn more about that, you can contact them on magfest5 at hotmail.com, or if you go on the various regional Facebook pages, you'll see flyers for this, and there's a flyer in the latest edition of The Road as well. One thing Brighton Mag are good at, and I have to say, the rep down there, Sandy Moon, she's got the uncanny ability of getting really good bands at, shall we say, an economic rate. And we've got two really good bands there. We've got the Captain's Beard and the Fish Brothers, who now that's I'd heard of neither of them, telling the truth, but having looked at them at YouTube, absolutely brilliant. And that's going to be a really good rally, end of the season, and I'm sure we're going to make a lot of money for Mag with it.
That's excellent, Steve. So, what's the ticket price for that?
That's £25 for an adult. Arrive on the Friday and go home on the Sunday morning. So that's very good. And it's a nice big site. It won't be crowded. It's secure. No passing traffic. Quite an interesting venue. When I heard it was near Gatwick Airport, I thought it would be a bit like the opening scene from Easy Rider, with planes flying off overhead. But it's not. It's really rural. It's a very nice place, yeah. When you get the ticket, that will give the exact address of the place on there. For reasons best known to themselves, they don't want to give the exact address in advance. I think it's something to do with the licensing, but it's near Gatwick Airport. Gives you a good idea where it is.
Excellent. So obviously we're here to have a quick run through Network and what's appeared in the latest edition. Was there anything in particular? Were there any stories that you spotted, Steve, that are of particular interest or relevance to your region?
Well, yeah, the follow-on theft meeting at Leeds, which I believe is June the 24th. There's not too much detail up in Network at the moment, but I really hope that goes well. It really is up to people to get along there and make their views felt, because when you meet with a bunch of people, you often get the conversation often goes along the lines of, oh, well, nobody ever does anything, nobody's interested, nobody cares. But in actual fact, they do. And the majority of politicians, you hold them to account, they will answer. It might take time. They might not say what you want them to say, but all these people are there and they are approachable. Most people who say politicians never help have never actually written to one. You've got to write to them, briefly state your aims and what you want and what your problems are, and they'll get back to you. But get along to the Leeds theft meeting and really give that plenty of support, because it can only help. The Facebook page we set up for the Kent anti-theft meeting is still very active. 2 months after the event, there's still a lot of traffic to and from on that. This very weekend, some local scooterists have located several stolen scooters, and I understand as we speak, they're in the process of recovering them with the help of Biker. And I hope that all comes off. So that's all as a direct result of people coming to the meeting, being put in touch with Biker, and wheels are turning. So that's a good follow-on. And I believe you've got other meetings as well planned, haven't you, Colin?
Yes, that's right. I mean, obviously, so since your meeting down in Kent, we've had one in Birmingham. Obviously, we've got the one in Leeds, which is sort of like the date is arranged now. But there's a good few more that we've got in the pipeline. So there's a good chance for Nottingham, possibly Hull. We're approaching the police forces down in South Wales, so probably one in Cardiff. Hopefully up in Edinburgh too. So there's lots more of these events to be coming, and obviously as is your experience, you can actually get things to happen as a result of these meetings. I mean, I know I've got just this weekend I've had emails from the West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner asking me what the next steps are, what we want to do in the area, and that's going to involve speaking to all 7 of the West Midlands councils about motorcycle parking facilities in the region. So there is things that come out of it. It's always going to be hard work, but it's a positive thing. It gets the question of motorcycle theft raised on the agenda, and frankly, there's no way left nowhere for the politicians to hide. When you come back and say, why haven't you done anything about it? They can't say they didn't know that it was a problem, can they?
That's right. I mean, when you add up the total value of motorcycles stolen in an area, over a year, it's probably approaching several £100,000. Well, if there was a bank robbery of several £100,000, I'm sure the police, well, we can hope the police would do something about it. But it's this cumulative effect of these robberies. It comes to a huge amount of money. And I mean, as I said to I think Motorcycle News were at our meeting, and as I said to them, it doesn't really matter what the statistics for the area are. If your motorcycle is stolen, it's 100%, and being without your bike is a very bad thing indeed. Especially if you're relying on it for work. It can be devastating, and this affects younger people more than older people, because a lot of youngsters go to work on 125s and twist and goes. It can turn their whole lives around.
Yeah. It is an area that certainly nationally, I think everybody gets quite passionate about, shall we say? It's good to see that there are councils that will listen. I know you've had an awful lot of success down in Kent with getting improved secure parking facilities over the last few years. So it's never a job that's finished, but it's one that we keep chipping away at to improve the amount of secure parking facilities for motorcyclists, and hopefully help to reduce the number of thefts that take place. So, were there any other stories that caught your eye in this edition of Network?
Yeah, I haven't read it through in detail, but there was a bit there about bikes being banned in the Pyrenees due to excessive noise. Well, I very much doubt this. I mean, I'm a very lucky person. I know I've just come back from 2 weeks in Spain, and on a bike, and the roads out there are absolutely wonderful. Even the sort of C roads and the unclassified roads, they're like a personal testing ground. They're absolutely beautiful, quiet, well maintained. And I have to say, I did 2,500 miles in Spain. And I don't think I came across any bikes with noisy exhausts. I mean, believe it or not. I mean, I know the Pyrenees straddles both France and Spain. And I find this quite strange, really. You get a lot of bikes with noisy exhausts. But we have to live within the law, don't we? I think 82 decibels. I see no reason to ban aftermarket exhausts. My last Triumph had aftermarket exhaust, and all they did was let it breathe more freely, but it didn't make it any more noisy. They were lighter, so carrying luggage was easier. So all I can say is, if you've got a really noisy exhaust, you might like the sound of it, and we're all petrol heads, I suppose, but you're not doing anyone any favours. Just don't push the boundaries. And I mean, we really don't want laws like that coming in England. I mean, because otherwise we're going to run out of places to go. They start bringing in weekend bans on the best riding roads. So I think it's in our own hands, really. People will probably shoot me down for this, but it's in our own hands to abide by the law. And we had noise and speeding problems in Rye over the last few years, and the local council seemed to think that MAG could solve it all. Well, as I said to them, it's a law and order problem. If anyone's doing anything wrong, hand it over to the police. It's for them to sort out. That's my view. Provided they're doing it fairly and within the law, that's it. If you want a noisy exhaust and you don't agree with the current laws, well, start a campaign to raise the decibel limit. But I don't think you'll get very far.
Yes, I think this is something. I mean, obviously, we've been approached by Motorcycle News to give them comment on our views on potential for banning aftermarket exhausts and things like this. And we've very much taken the line is that noise isn't the only reason why people choose a motorcycle's exhaust system. It could be a case of you need to replace the factory system because it got damaged. It could be that it's rotten or whatever, and you may not be able to afford the factory original equipment replacement. So there's lots of reasons why people will be buying new exhaust systems, and it's not necessarily just to increase the number of decibels coming out the back. There are regulations in place about the noise limits. Provided you're buying an exhaust system that meets those limits, then there should be no reason why you can't buy any exhaust that's on the market. So I think, there is an issue with perception of motorcyclists, but to try and tie it to one subject such as this is rather narrow thinking. I think why do you perceive that all motorcyclists buy exhaust simply to make more noise? That's not the case, and therefore a blanket ban on all aftermarket exhaust is going to be a ridiculous approach to legislation. So one that we will clearly be objecting to if it is suggested. The anti-tampering laws, or the latest round of attempts to introduce anti-tampering laws, the way it was written was appalling. Hopefully that's been kicked into the long grass and won't come back for quite some time yet. But again, it's a subject that keeps coming round. So yeah, we've got to be vigilant. But equally, like I say, it'd be interesting to know, has there been any trials with these noise cameras in your region that you're aware of, Steve?
Well, I heard a rumour that there were noise cameras at Lumi's Cafe, which is right on the border between the southeast and the south region. I should know, but anyway, it's on the border there. But I've heard no more about it. Yes, this particularly affects the older Japanese bikes, the old four-cylinder Japanese bikes. To get an original exhaust for an old 900 Kawasaki or a 750 Honda or a Honda 404, something like that, original patent exhaust for them, stunningly expensive, probably a third of the value of the bike. But you get a really nice modern stainless steel 4-into-1 system, which weighs less, takes up less room, and isn't necessarily more noisy. So to ban stuff like that would be crazy. I'm sure some of these people, when they take their bog standard family car in to have a new exhaust at Quick Fit or whatever, they're not getting a Ford exhaust put on it. They're getting some other copy put on there, and nothing is said whatsoever. So why can't it be the same for motorcycles?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Like I say, the blanket approach of legislation is normally the sledgehammer to crack a walnut that policymakers like. But that's what MAG is here for. We're here to make sure that these policies and legislation don't come through to restrict the freedoms that we enjoy so much, which is why we need more members all the time. So we need to make sure that everybody gets out there, tells everybody about what MAG is doing, and persuades the general riding public to join MAG and increase the volume of the voice of the rider, as opposed to the volume of the exhaust system.
Yeah, very, very well put, Colin. Yeah. Something else I'd like to bring up is, because it borders on the southeast region, is the ULEZ scandal. Some of our local members live right on the edge of this. One guy lives in Dartford, and one side of the road will be non-ULEZ, and the other side of the road will be within the new ULEZ. I mean, this is absolutely scandalous. I mean, the Sadiq Khan has said there's going to be scrappage schemes and things like that, but why scrap perfectly good motorcycles? And also, scrappage schemes doesn't apply to people outside, and the people who are going to be affected really most are people who live outside London, say in Rochester, set off at 5 o'clock in the morning to go and earn an honest crust somewhere in the southern or eastern suburbs of London in a relatively old car or a relatively old motorbike, but we assume they're all tax tested, insured, safe. It gets them to work, and they can't be. And they're the people who are really, really going to be affected, and especially people with the older vehicles are the people usually on lower wages. So this really is a tax on the poor.
It is, and certainly, I mean, I look at it from the perspective is that the as you say, there's going to be very large numbers of riders who are migrating into the City of London or Greater London, as this now applies to, for a job of work. There's also people who live in Greater London who probably commute out of London to work, but just leaving their front door in the morning and going to work in the neighbouring county, they're going to in charge of £12.50 a day charge to Sadiq Khan. He'll be raking in the money for them, maybe possibly only riding 100 metres away from London. These ridiculous geographical areas that they draw up, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like it doesn't matter how far you drive, you get the charge the same amount. It could be 100 meters just to get out of the zone, or it could be coming into the zone and spending all day driving around in circles in the zone. It's the same charge. It's just totally illogical. And like I say, you could drive in a 6 liter SUV, or you could ride in on a Honda C90 and get charged the same amount of money. It's just there's no logic to it at all. It is literally just a tax on the people who can least afford it. The people who can least afford to get the new vehicles. If they could afford a new vehicle, they probably would have already had one, wouldn't they?
That's right. I mean, before the original ULEZ, which is North and South Circular, came in. Before that even came in, but it was being mooted. London Mag and the South East Mag and one or two from the Southern region, we all stood on Waterloo Bridge with placards, and nobody took a blind bit of notice of us. And then North Kent Mag always mans the mag stand at the Excel for one of the days up there. And we had people coming up, a waste of time, that'll never happen. And funnily enough, the following year we were there, and ULEZ had come in. We actually had the same two people come up to us and said, "Where can we join? You were right." And that was for the original ULEZ. If only people had got together when the original ULEZ came in, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now. So if ever there's a threat in your local area, you've got to jump on it. Don't think, that'll go away, because sadly it won't. I mean, and my theory, right or wrong, is that no government is ever going to be politically strong enough to ban motor vehicles per se, but how they'll do it, they'll throw it all on the backs of the local authorities to have clean air. So if I want to ride to, say, Maidstone or I don't know, Tunbridge Wells or any of the towns in the southeast, and they've all got ULEZs, in the end you'll just run out of places you can ride to. You could set off in Rochester, be charged £12.50. You could go to Maidstone, be charged another £12.50. That's 25 quid gone before you've gone anywhere. And I can see that is how I think it's the thin edge of the wedge. The government will eventually just stop pleasure motoring with conventional vehicles by pricing us out of the market. So it's not just London, it's going to end up everywhere, I'm afraid.
That's it. So an ominous note to finish on, but we do have to call it to a close there. But yes, certainly, as Steve is saying, all these things, if you take the view that if it's only happening in the centre of London, it doesn't matter. Hopefully everybody's now learnt that lesson. To realise that this may be a good way to get new MAG members, but we'd rather have had the MAG members 5 years ago when we were opposing it in the initial stages. But yes, it's plenty of potential there for people still to join MAG and to join the fight and hopefully reverse this. It's not over yet. The fight is not over. We're not giving up on it. We want to see the ULEZ scrapped, frankly. But maybe more to come on that in future editions of the the Mag Network podcast. So thank you for your time, Steve, and we shall sign off here and hopefully well, I don't know what's the right word to put this to. Speak to all our listeners on the podcast. You can see that I'm very, very, very experienced at doing podcasts. I know all the right jargon, but we can only get better from here.
Okay, yeah, good evening, Colin, and nice to speak to you.